Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. Good Wednesday afternoon. We are live in downtown Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. 3-hour banger lined up today. Jeff Seeley on the program. Best Bets Wyndham Championship. He could not make the program last week due to travel. He did nail Jackson Koivin 2 weeks ago at the 3M. We'll see if he is back on the horse this week with the young stud at the Wyndham Championships. Mike Palm in studio in an hour and 15 minutes. You told me a story. I don't want to name names here, Paulie. I don't know if you're going to or not, but we have a mutual friend who was recently here. He forgot. Mike is running. He's got a 1-hour speech tomorrow at Bet Bash, and he's going to talk about running a casino and sportsbook. Well, a mutual friend of ours left $20,000 cash in the safe when he bailed to go to the East Coast the other day.
Yes.
Oops.
He looks, what's a 702 number? And it's Circa Security. You go, wouldn't you believe it? And he goes, he thought he dropped it out of his bag.
Is that right?
It's found money.
Oh, my God.
I already got that. He knows what he's going to tip, too. I mean, you want to talk about found money.
Oh, no question.
So that's fun to kick around what the tip is, too. But I wonder how many times that happens.
I was going to say, what is your guess right now? How many times, on week, do you think that happens? That has to happen several times every single week at almost every single casino.
I'm going to say 8 times a month here. Over under 7.5.
Okay. That's multiple times per week then.
They leave stuff in the safe.
No question about it. Totally forgot about it. Had too many drinks last night. It's like the same people who forgot that they put bets in when they come here for a big weekend. Oops, what did I do with that bet? Well, I lost it, but that's a winner. So good there.
They said, do you want us to send you a check? He goes, no, I'm going to come down and get the cash. Get away from the wife again.
So he's got to fly back out here to get it?
Yeah, well, he's looking forward to it. Yeah. That's how you do it.
Matt Euman's on the program a little bit later on as well. Best bets in college football at that time. We were going to start there today, but I think we have to me, I tweeted this out before the show started, a developing situation here, Paulie. In the National League, the Cubs are thumping the Dodgers again today. Score 6-1. They are currently 5.5 back of the Brewers. They are 65-49. They have a run differential right now of more than 100 if this score stands, which is one of the best in all of Major League Baseball. You did point out that the Cubs now, they have one of the most difficult schedules remaining, but they had a killer deadline, in my opinion. And here is what has really flipped now in the last 45 minutes. PCA has gone yard today, not once, but twice. He has 4 RBIs, I believe, and he has now flipped to the MVP favorite in the National League. And I can say this right now, that if Shohei Ohtani does not come back and pitch again this year, which is kind of still an unknown, but if he does not, PCA is going to win the award. He's going to take it down.
Yeah, well, you needed an injury and or something to happen to
him.
And you got that.
Yep.
Where you're taking that big equation out of it, and one of the things he does best. And the other thing is that this is going to be 6 losses in a row. They had won 9 straight appearances with Lauer, and he had been so good. And now if this stands, they've lost 15 of their last 26. So great job by the Cubbies. The same game parlays. This is like the World Cup. With Messi, Howland, Kane to score.
Yep.
PCA and Ohtani both go deep in the first inning, and then PCA added another RBI double in the third. So they're opening up a can here on the Dodgers. And, you're doing a rollover, you're getting paid here too. And that was a nice return yesterday, even though Skubal was solid.
Yep.
But no run support again, and the Cubbies were plus 180, and they got there.
All right, so I want to point this out about betting Chicago Cubs futures. Again, after the deadline was over with on Monday, Adam Burke here at the network had a great breakdown on vsin.com with 3 recommended bets, one of which was Chicago to win the World Series at 15-1. I was shopping around last night. There was an 18-1 out there. There was also a 9-1 to win the National League. Others have made the case for the Cubs to win the division. That number is now slowly but surely moving. I know it was 4-1 the other day. I can't find higher than like plus 330 right now. But I'll go one deeper than that. If you believe, and if you're going to bet the Cubs to win the National League Central at that number, I firmly believe that you have to take a price then on the Cubs to be the 1 seed in the National League. Because I said yesterday, the Brewers are 5-1. Dodgers are currently reeling right now. That could flip. They could rattle off 10 of the next 11. Who knows? They're so talented. But I think there's a great case here for the Brewers to be the 1 seed, and they were 5-1. Well, if the Cubs somehow overtake the Brewers in the Central, they will 1,000% be in the mix late to have the 1 seed in the National League. And that has to be a bomb
Okay.
right now.
Well, or I don't mess around and just take the plus 320 in case Atlanta, is unbelievable.
I'm just taking
And they
a
keep the win
sprinkle.
streak. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't go hog wild with it.
Sure. The other thing is, how good does Tampa look at minus 110 to win the division?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, are the Yankees really going to do this? They're going to get the broom out on Colorado. Great come from behind. Freddie had nothing. My God. To have a 1.23 ERA career at Coors in 5 starts, and he had nothing. But they get 2 in the 9th and win in extra innings, and Caminero went deep again. As this is just a great organization and a solid club.
Yep.
What they're doing. So I just don't see the Yankees catching them with 45 games left. And by the way, they have the number 1 home record in all of baseball.
Yeah. By the way, for the record, I have not gotten there with the Cubs either. Do you think they're going to overtake Milwaukee and win that division?
No, I don't.
Neither
I think the
do-
schedule's too difficult.
So do I, and that's why I'm not going to play it. I'm just pointing it out. And by the way, you're spot on with the Rays. I mean, and we've been talking all year long about how, well, the American League completely stinks. It's completely, who do you trust here whatsoever? Maybe it comes down to the Rays and the Red Sox. And those 2 teams turn out to be, because if the Red Sox do continue this,
yes,
like for the rest of the year, well, then now we're talking about 4 months out of the season where they were an absolute machine. And so that could maybe carry over. Their bullpen has been incredible. It's only going to get better. Their offense again yesterday, that was a cheap number, as you pointed out. They took some money.
Same thing today.
I would agree.
Sonny Gray's $1.30.
He opened up, by the way, globally speaking, he was $1.15 last night. Now, he's taking on Burke today, and Burke has been red hot. In fact, he's been one of the better pitchers in baseball over this stretch. And the White Sox are a good story, but I laid 26 cents today with the Red Sox.
Yeah, good for you. It makes sense. And every number you throw at me with the Red Sox, you'd say, you're making that up. How about this one? They've won 11 in a row against division leaders. I mean,
Wow.
Yes, I know. And they're 4-0 against the White Sox. They've outscored them 29-4. So it's just every day you look up, it's another staggering stat with this team.
I got another one for you
Won
here.
29-34. The last time an American League team won 30-35 was Cleveland in 2017. They had that 20-plus game winning streak. But the 15-1 run on the road, the 11 in a row against division leaders, Gray 11-1 in his last 15 starts. It's made up. It's a video game.
I know.
Cheat code what they're doing.
So this is from OptaStats. They went from 38-48 on July 3rd to 61-51 after last night's win. It only took them 33 days to go from 10 games under 500 to 10 games over. The only teams in Major League Baseball history to do so in a shorter span. The Pirates, think about this for a second, folks. The 1978 Pirates did that in 26 days. Now that's, how long was that winning streak? And the 1916 Browns did it in 32 days. Boston, third fastest team of all time to go 10 games under 500 to 10 games over.
Yep. Staggering. Well, the other thing is, too, the White Sox are lousy on the road.
Yeah.
They're just a completely different team. Look at the home road splits there. So that's another reason to back the Red Sox.
Yeah, I guess we could say that, you're only as good as your next day starter, and Burke's been awesome. Maybe. I think it's kind of unlikely with how red hot this Red Sox team is, but maybe Burke goes there tonight and he pitches 7 innings, gives up 2 hits and he strikes out 10 because the numbers on Sean Burke going back, here you go. Since June 18th, 7 starts, 4-1 with a 1.42 ERA, 11.9 Ks per 9. Ks by game, 8, 6, 8, and more recently, 11, 9, 5, 10, and 10. So 3 double-digit K games in his last 5, and so far on the year, 9 appearances on the road, a 2.50 ERA, and 10.7 Ks per 9 for Berkey tonight.
Our Nesson fans have to help us out. He's going to have a large contingent there. He's from Sutton, Massachusetts. I don't know where that is. I've said many times I had family in Revere. I love the area there, but I don't know. I've never heard of it, but it's kind of a homecoming for him. So a lot of friends and family will be there as he's from wherever Sutton, Massachusetts is.
Very good.
Going up tonight, too. So great numbers today on a fun card and a lot going on. And how about the A's who just are inventing new ways to lose?
That was impossible last night to really
Back-to-back
lose
wild.
like that.
It just
Yeah,
yes.
that's how you lost the game.
Yeah, and the Reds are $1.50 tonight as the A's are just Kurtz is hurt. They've lost 26 of 31. They're scoring 3 runs a game and giving up 7 for the ERA on a nightly basis, what they're doing.
Wow.
And good call with Detroit, too. How about the offense? Something's got to give game tonight. Wu has got a ERA under 1, last 6 at home. But Detroit scored at least 8 runs, 6 in a row. But Melton again, too, delivered.
Melton was so good last night. Since earned runs became an official stat in both leagues back in 1913, one major league pitcher has reached the following marks through their first 16 career starts. Sub-2 ERA, sub-1 whip, and 13-plus team wins. That's Melton with the Tigers now. Only pitcher Major League Baseball history since 1913 when that stat became official. So I'll explain a prop bet that I have in that game coming up a little bit later on. I'm climbing the ladder there, but I would only look at the Tigers at that plus money tonight.
14, 9, 13, 8, 11, 8. Their runs going back.
Paul, again, they've been below 500 now forever. They have one of the best run differentials in baseball, or in the American League anyway.
Yeah.
By the way, Cubs 25-1 best record at DraftKings.
All right. Thanks for that. Hall of Fame game tomorrow. And then 5 preseason games next Thursday. Book your trip to Vegas. Winner Circle Proxy, VSiN's preferred proxy service. After your required in-person registration, they handle your weekly submissions. You can make your picks from anywhere. One trip to Vegas all season long. Schedule your appointment now, winnercircleproxy.com. Winnercircleproxy.com. It's time. Football's here. Getting these contests.
Yeah. Have you bet the game tomorrow night?
No. But I think we're against one. I don't mind fading back, though.
Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We will get into the toughest and some of the easiest schedules in college football coming up next. Don't always believe what you hear.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, the Wyndham Championship is this week on the PGA Tour. We'll get some analysis, breakdown here, best bets as we go out to the Progressive guest line. Our buddy Jeff Seeley joins the program now. Follow him on X at Cupmaker Jeff. He is doing a live Spaces on X tonight talking about this tournament. The last time you came on the program, you tipped off Jackson Koivin. He was, 37-1 to win in that range to win the 3M. A belated congratulations, man. That was awesome. You couldn't join us last week because of travel purposes, but great call on a kid that's probably going to be a rock star sooner than later here.
Yeah, there's no doubt, guys. And you know, it's funny. I was looking at this board and looking at Cam Young being plus 800 or so. And I asked myself, I said, is he the best player in the field? And the majority would answer yes. And my answer to myself was, well, really, maybe. I mean, the odds board and the respect that's been shown to Koivin now shows you just how talented the kid is. Maybe, and he may be the most talented player in the field, not the most experienced, but he may be the most talented. And I'm sure that he's got his eye on making the playoffs now. Going to need 2 strong finishes, but you can find him top 20 at almost even money on DraftKings right now in the ties pay full market, and I think that's he's worth looking at again this week. I mean, I think he's going to compete. And again, it's a course where it's pretty straightforward. The problem is when it's this short, it brings a lot of people into play. So it's tough to bet a guy too short odds, but I do like him top 20 a lot this week.
How short do you want to go?
Honestly, that's probably on his outright. I'll have a little bit on his outright, but that's probably the shortest I'm going to go. I'm not going to play Cam Young at plus 830. I think that's too short. So I'm going to play a little bit of Koivin. I'm going to play him top 20. But I do like Ben Griffin, 27-1 or so, guys. When you look at total course comps, including course history here, Hideki comes in at number 4 overall. But I don't like his putting at all, so that has me off Hideki, and really looking at Ben Griffin as the other guy besides Koivin in this range. So over the last 2 years, Griffin's been 5th on approach and 10th in putting here at Sedgefield in comp courses. So his specific results here have been 4th, 7th, 11th in a missed cut over the last 4 years. Played very well here, gaining an average of 4 strokes around and 2.5 strokes putting at this course. So he's not priced lower this week because his form's been all over the place. His last 10 events, his 4 finishes inside the top 14 and 4 outside the top 50. So pretty mixed bag, but I think that's giving us a decent discount this week. So I played him my biggest way. I played Griffin. I played him top 20 plus 120 or so. And then some a little on the outright, but I do like Ben Griffin this week.
Okay. Yeah, he's also come down a little bit. He is popular this week, but it all makes sense, obviously. Okay, so that's where you're going to basically start it in the outrights, and then you want to kind of trickle down the board a little bit. You're not taking anybody else in the 20 or 30s. You're going to go with a guy in the 40s, and who is what the portfolio starts where then?
Yeah, so Keegan Bradley you can find him in the 40s right now, and when you play Keegan Bradley, you know you're in for a ride, but undeniably his irons are just absolutely on fire, guys. Gained on approach in 9 straight events, and in a time that, in that time he's gained an average of 3 strokes around on the field. So what makes that stat more incredible? The 3 of those were majors. So now the real question, has it translated in results? The truth is it hasn't translated into great results, largely due to his driver, which he can keep in the bag this week, and his putter, which unfortunately he can't. So I think a top 20 out of Keegan's a really interesting ask. I think, as last night events, he has 4 top 20s, and we're getting the plus 160, plus 170 in the top 20 market. So that's another way I'm going to look at him. I'm going to have a little bit on the outright if I'm Keegan, but my biggest way I'm going to play him is top 20. And a guy who I do like better in the outright market, JT Poston. You can find him at 60 to 1 or so, and he's interesting for a number of reasons. A lot of the Sims like him because of his course history. Played this course over 9 times in the last 9 years. Has a win, a T7, and a T11 last year to go with 4 missed cuts. So his range of outcomes has been pretty wide, hence the price. But every time he's played here, he's gained at least a combined 8 strokes with his irons and putter. He's been playing great golf in early June. If this had been in early June, he'd be closer to 40 to 1. You can find him at 60 on DraftKings. What I like about him is this is a guy who won less than 2 months ago, who took 4th at the U.S. Open a month and a half ago, and a guy who has won this event. And we're getting all that at 60 to 1. I think the best way to play him, though, guys, is in the each-way markets if you can. I played him each way top 10 at 50 to 1 at Bet365. If you can't find that, then I would bet him outright, and then I would bet him top 10 as well.
Good enough. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Jeff Seeley. Follow him on X. He's having a Twitter Spaces tonight, or X Spaces. He's at Cummaker Jeff. He's on the Progressive Guest Line. Okay, so then a very intriguing card, by the way. And I like how you're almost like being careful this week and picking your spots with different placements for these guys. But then we can open it up a little bit to some bombs here. And based on how this course plays out, who you think might have a chance to pull off something miraculous here in an outright, and who do you want to go like in triple digits?
Yeah, guys, Matt McCarty is 110 to 1 this week, and the reason is his form sucks. I mean, he's missed 5 of his last 8 cuts, lost off the tee in 10 straight events. That's why he's 110 to 1. But if you zoom out a little, we find a guy who had a stretch from April and May where he had 4 straight top 12 finishes and who finished T24 at the Masters this year. So the guy absolutely has game. When we look at Sedgefield and comp courses over the past 2 years, the number 2 guy behind Cam Young is Matt McCarty. Number 14th in those courses, tee to green, and number 1 in putting. Those are critically important stats this week. So when you add in history at this course, and yes, he's only played it once, but he finished T8 here last year, gaining 6 strokes tee to green and 4 strokes putting. So my biggest way I'm going to play him, on DraftKings, he's 2 to 1 in the top 30 market, which is phenomenal. But I'm also going to play him in the each-way market, each-way top 10 at 80 to 1. So, again, if you don't have the each-way markets, I'd play a little on the outright and play him top 10. But my biggest way to play him, I think, is top 30 on DraftKings at 2 to 1. And then, guys, if here's a real kind of bomb, Brian Campbell you can find as high as 400 to 1 this week. And while I don't think he's going to win, he makes for an interesting play at this obscene number purely based on the fact that this is an extremely short course. He does not hit it a long way. And he gained a crazy 9 shots on approach last week.
Wow.
So he's normally solid around the greens. He lost there last week. So I look for a potential bounce back spot there. And if he can keep this red hot iron play going one more week, he's certainly live for a top 40 spot. And at plus 320 on DraftKings top 40, again, ties pay full there. I think it's definitely a gamble worth taking on a guy who, obviously, his irons were hot last week. If you can do that here, you can contend.
All right.
Very good.
You're going to the game tomorrow. The Fever play the Aces. The total's 195. They've scored 100 points 6 games in a row. They're number 1 in offensive rating. and 96 points per game. They've won 5 of 6. I don't know about the defense, though. Can they guard people come playoff time?
Well, no, and I think that's the problem. They're going to have to do something to play better defense. But you're right; they're very entertaining in that they score a ton. The futures market in these guys, you guys know, I've been kind of adding shares to them as the season goes on. And I think they started the year as low as 5-1, and a few weeks ago they were as high as 19 to 20-1. Now in most places that you see them around that 10 to 11 spot. But they're really interesting. And I don't know if they can beat Minnesota in a series, but they would probably need someone else to take out Minnesota to make that run. But I do think they have the best backcourt in the league. I mean, certainly they average of 50 points a game between the two of them. They certainly have the most eyeballs. And, the question is, and after that, can the league get out of their own way and helping their best product get to the finals? I don't know. We'll see. But it's certainly going to be interesting. It's not boring. And, boy, what a total tomorrow night. It should be a really fun game. I'm looking forward to that.
Crazy. Here, I think, would be the one recipe against Minnesota, because watching that entire game over the weekend, like, this happens a lot defensively for the Fever. They give up so many easy looks down low. Like, we're talking about uncontested layups for the opposing team. Okay. But they also want to play super fast to give that kind of stuff up. Minnesota also hit, like, the shot making for the Lynx in that game was kind of off the charts. They were phenomenal. Well, what if in a series they're just not going in? They're rattling in and out, and that's off the back of the iron, and then they can stop them and limit them on the offensive glass. That would be the recipe, I think, to actually in a 5-game series. That's how you would have to, I think, break it down and have get that victory go your way.
Well, and I think the Fever can trade a lot of threes for twos, right? Between Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark, they can hit threes. I mean, better than anyone backcourt wise. And then you bring Sophie Cunningham off the bench, who's a very good 3-point shooter. I think then it gives them a great opportunity. So yeah, I anytime you can hit the 3 ball that well, and if you can just get a few stops to your point and get a little lucky, I think you can compete. So I hope they get the opportunity. I've got a ton of futures on them, and it'll make for a lot more interesting fall if they do.
Follow him on X at Cutmaker Jeff. Thanks, pal. We appreciate it. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, fellas. Take care.
He's right. Not only have they screwed it up the whole time with Caitlin Clark, but I'll tell you this: her teammate Mitchell. Is she the most underrated player in the league? She's rarely, if ever, mentioned outside of like WNBA circles.
Yeah,
like how good she is.
The playoffs are going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I know the Lynx are good, but these, Atlanta's playing well. The Aces, the champs, and the Fever can score like we just talked about.
Yeah. Win, lose up next. A college football team is offering something extremely exciting and creative for their fan base. I love it, but cannot wait to bet against them.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Wednesdays with the Maestro. Mike Palm is the VP of Circle Las Vegas, the Golden Gate, and the D here in the great downtown part of this tremendous city. Joins the program now. How are you, Mike?
Oh, it's like a total eclipse of the sun, the two of you in studio together.
How about that?
How long has this been?
Well, it's only going to be for 2 more days because I'm out next week.
Then you're out.
Yeah.
Well, at least some of you stayed in town for the summer. That was nice.
Yeah, I'm staying in town all next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I don't mind 110.
No.
You don't mind it?
No, I got a pool.
You're used to it.
I got a pool. I go swimming.
Him and the Bash are out in the backyard in the pool all day.
So I tried explaining this to my family in Wisconsin when I did go back a couple of weeks ago, and they can't wrap their heads around it. I told them that there's nothing better than, to me, the sun's going down at night. It's 102. There's a slight breeze. I think it feels absolutely fantastic.
Especially just came out of the water. It's cool.
It's amazing.
We do Sunday afternoons now. Right now with no football, late Sunday afternoon, it's our pool day, barbecue out. But we don't really start till about 3 o'clock. Right? The kids get in the pool because then the house starts blocking the sun about 5:30.
Yeah.
And it starts getting nice in the backyard, right? When you're getting ready to get out and eat.
Yeah,
but
sure.
It's not bad. Also, 5:15 to like 7 in the morning is very nice as well.
Nice.
If you want to get out there and walk, enjoy the dogs.
Sure.
There's a little window in the mornings.
Sure.
You are speaking tomorrow at the sports betting conference known as Bet Bash, ongoing out here. Started last night. Here?
Well, the cocktail party, opening cocktail party, was at Overhang last night.
Okay, so the title is "The Challenges of Operating a Casino sportsbook. Can you give us a spoiler or two?
Well, I'm going to just make an opening statement for this. Is going to be audience-based, right? The questions. Spanky wanted somebody that could come on and answer questions about the operations side of it. Now, last year I hosted a similar panel. I was the moderator, and Chris Bennett was the panelist. It was just him. But it was about Think Like a Bookmaker was the title of it. And it got into all his thought processes on how he operates and manages risk and sets lines and moves lines and what customers we want, what customers we don't want, all that kind of thing. And this will be more general about overall casino, although I'm sure there'll be a lot of sports-related questions.
Okay, this happened. I found out about this before the show started. We actually brought this up in the first segment. Mutual friend of ours from the East Coast, just in town. He left. He realized, he got a phone call here. He thought he'd dropped $20,000 out of his backpack, cash. Got a phone call from Circus Security. This you? Yeah, that's my. You really went $20,000 you left in the safe.
It happens.
How often?
I would say it happens several times a year. Not that amount, but people will leave things in the safe and they just forget about it, right? It's jewelry. Sometimes women leave jewelry. People leave their passport. Then they find out I can't get on the plane or whatever. And sometimes it's large amounts of money. That's why you have the safes in the room. So
how does this happen, though, in terms of who, like every guest checks out and then...
Well, the maids go in, and the maids have to clear off so that the next person can use and they have a reset button on the safe, and they make sure it's empty before the next guest can check in and use the safe. And so first, the housekeeping staff sees, there's some money in here, right? And then what they do is immediately contact their manager, who contacts security to come up and inventory it. And then security goes and sees who was the guest in the room and then reaches out to contact them.
Bingo.
Do you think housekeeping reports it 100% of the time? I'm not just talking about your properties, but like...
I will tell you that ongoing, there's integrity checks that go on. That we will put something in the room before it's cleaned to see if the housekeeping personnel reports it.
Oh, that is good.
Well, it's very good because we know. Leave chips on the dresser, cash in the safe. They don't report it. They're a thief. That's how you weed out the bad apples, and so that it doesn't happen when it would happen to a guest. We want to get you never know who has larceny in their heart. It's hard to tell.
That's incredible. That makes sense, obviously.
Okay. Very good, Michael.
Paulie said about 7.5, 8 times a month. I said multiple times a week as well.
Well, there's probably smaller amounts and smaller things, right? The people forget. They leave full bottles of alcohol they bought in the room. They leave different things.
What's you've been doing this a long time. What's the like golf clubs or higher amount? What's the most outrageous thing left?
That's happened.
Golf clubs have
golf clubs have been left. I mean, people are hungover when they're leaving, and they're
Scrambling,
in a rush. They got to make a flight.
Okay.
Never a pet. That's good. They never left a pet behind. I'm waiting for that day, right?
When
they leave a pet behind in the room, but and occasionally large amounts of money.
Do you remember the largest amount?
It was more than this. I will say that.
You leave it at that.
But it was a little over 100. Was left in the safe.
In the safe?
Yeah, a little over 100 was left.
Come on.
Yeah.
So imagine he gets this phone call. He thinks he drops it.
Yeah.
And it's gone. And Circus Security calls him. And he knows what his tip's going to be, too. I mean, that's another good... that is found money.
Totally found money.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Totally found money. That's an interesting...
What do you think the tip should be?
Let me frame this.
Sure.
Now, the kid got off the plane. Did you ask Derek about the kid that got off the plane and hit the jackpot here last week?
No.
They hit the 3-card poker, whatever, the $400,000 jackpot. He'd get off the plane from Oklahoma, was playing 15 minutes, and hits the jackpot that hadn't hit since 2022.
Texas Hold'em? Was it Texas Hold'em?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he hits the jackpot, and his take home is $357, right? After the tax and all that, he's going to take home $357. What would your tip be on that, Paul? Then we'll go back to this $20,000 question.
Well, he's playing for 15 minutes?
Yeah.
24-year-old kid. Let's put it this way. He had to call his parents to find out what his Social Security number was.
Oh, he didn't tip anything then?
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Once I heard that story, I said they got nothing.
I talked to Joe a couple weeks ago, too, because...
he left more than nothing, okay? Yeah. But what would you leave? I have an answer.
Let's put ourselves in his shoes.
Okay.
Where do you think we'd be at mentally knowing about the whole tipping idea? I
Well-
probably would not have a good grasp at that as a 24-year-old who just got here.
No, he's
and
not
was playing
used
for
to all
15
of
minutes.
the whole
Yeah,
right.
industry
Well,
and everything
yeah.
like that.
The 3-card poker hit here a couple months ago. The gal didn't even know how to play. They had to explain what just transpired, that she hit the jackpot
Okay.
for 20,000?
See, I said I would have, because Joe told me 357 and change was what his take home was. I said I would have tipped the 17 and change.
Okay.
Right? 5%.
Yeah.
Right? 17,
Okay.
whatever it was, and walked with 340. That's me.
That's a good
I mean,
number. That's good. I
we're
was
all
gonna
in a
say-
different spot. Everybody's in a different
Sure,
spot.
I had minimum 10,000 in my
Yeah.
brain, but you could talk me into different numbers,
Well.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I would put you under 17 and a half.
Yeah.
But I put Paul maybe a little over.
Wow. Okay. How about found money with 20,000?
I don't know how. Well, there's a lot of
It's
different
going to
arguments.
security, but-
It's their job, and it's in
Sure.
how do they split it up?
Good
right?
point.
Yeah.
Is it
Yep.
it's the person that made the call and the person that gives you the money, the person at security, the housekeeper is the first one,
Right.
that turned it in.
He said he was going to do 2,000.
Yeah, I think that you can't do less. And maybe people think that's strong, but that's probably going to get split up 4 or 5 ways anyhow.
Yeah, no, I think 2 dimes, easy.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you when I was working at the Venetian this story that I went in the men's room? This is a public men's room, right, in a public area. And I was working the floor there, and I get into a stall, and I look down. There's a wallet there, right? A wallet full of money.
What?
Full. I
of
mean,
money.
Full of money. I finished my business, and I take them. I look. There was a driver's license.
Yeah.
Right? So it was, and I walked it to the security podium, right? They inventoried it. They took all of my details, this and that. They counted, whatever. They said, thank you for turning it in, da, 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 da. I got an email from the security team at the Venetian. It was 3 months later, so it was 90 days from the day I turned it in. It said, no one claimed the wallet. We made best attempt. So as the finder of the wallet, you're entitled to the wallet. I said, well, what do I want with the guy's IDs? They said, no, but you're entitled to the cash
You're kidding.
that you turned in because nobody claimed it within 90 days.
Was it still there?
3,200.
Oh, my God.
So it's finders
Unbelievable.
keepers.
It was finders keepers. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
That's a great story.
This is a good tweet from Big Coom on X. Years ago at the Borgata AC, I found $5K on the ground waiting near the valet. Guy came back, described it, etc. I gave it to him, tipped him $100. You got to tip more than that.
I wouldn't tell the story.
Yeah.
One time I'm playing, this is a more ridiculous story. I'm playing craps at Caesar's Palace, in that old under the dome there. This is year before pandemic when I used to go out and play. Friday night, I'm drinking rum and cokes, playing, go to the bathroom, come back. It's like 2 hours later. I must have played for 5 hours. Where's my phone? I can't find I'm looking under the table. I'm looking under the... Now I go back. It's like 1:30 in the morning to the same stall I used in a bathroom 75 yards away, and there's the phone sitting on top of the toilet paper. Nobody touched
Nobody
it.
touched
Nobody
it the whole
turned it. It
time?
was just sitting there.
It's incredible.
Come on.
God,
How many
God.
people went in and out of there on a Friday night at Caesar?
No kidding.
Maybe the guy will come back. Just leave it there.
That is wild. By the way, were you watching the end of the Astros game? We lost our minds. We've been on the air, so we couldn't tell. What happened with Alvarez there?
I have no idea. I wasn't watching any of it. But I was watching on my phone, tempted to bet Hunter Brown in this game, right? I mean, Tyone's been awful for the Cubs.
Terrible.
They get up 3-0. Next time I look back, they're losing.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Oh, and this is from Touchdown J on X. Are you kidding me? Alvarez, that was to go over 1.5 total bases as well.
You lost a prop bet on
Is that how we lost
What
the
happened?
prop bet?
What
Oh,
happened?
He slowed down going into second.
You didn't think
right-
there was going to be a play on it?
Yeah.
You rifled
Tagged him
a
out, yeah.
quick, quote, double to right field.
And
did
jogged.
slide and started jogging, but he looked safe. So we don't have the audio here, but we're going anyway. They called him out. Astros lose. We'll continue.
Finders keepers.
Finders keepers. Yeah. Wednesdays with the Maestro coming up. You cannot be serious and follow the money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Time now for some best bets tonight, tomorrow night, college football as well. VSiN host Matt Humans joins the program now. He is on the progressive guest line. Hey, Matt, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty well, and I can't wait to hear this story about what went wrong for you at Culver's on your trip to Wisconsin.
Okay, so this goes back. Yeah, we landed on Saturday night a couple of weeks ago. Our first stop, as always, when we get back there is at Culver's because I crave it. We're getting one out here in Las Vegas finally. And it's I'm right there with you. It's either number 1 or number 2 with Portillo's as the best fast food joints you can find in the country. However, this was my first really disappointing experience of my life at Culver's. On the menu now, right, when you pull up, we went to the drive-thru. I'm like, oh, boy, you got a brand new jalapeno chicken sandwich? They're like, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, I want one of those. I need one of those. That sounds delicious. I ordered that. We got a mushroom and Swiss, cheese curds, and a soda. Mm-hmm. It takes 25 minutes for them to get us our food. Not only did they screw up my order, and I don't send stuff back. I'm not one of those guys. Maybe I should be. They gave me a burger, and on the screen it says jalapeno chicken. I'm like, yeah, it's and I had a conversation with the guy. It's a jalapeno burger they gave me, which I would never order. I'm like, oh, this is below average. Lorraine had a mushroom and Swiss. You can't screw up a mushroom and Swiss. They did. The cheese curds were absolutely average, and the soda was flat. It tastes like water. And I'm just like, I was so turned off, Matt. I'm like, I need some time away from the idea of going to Culver's.
That's disappointing to hear that. It's obviously poor service at that specific Culver's you went to. That's not reflective of all the Culver's across the nation. But when you have a negative experience like that, it's hard to get past it. I understand. I don't understand the part, though, how you could get a jalapeno burger when you ordered a jalapeno chicken sandwich. Is the service that bad?
It was that far off. Like, I opened it up. I'm like, is this your mushroom and Swiss? Well, let me see the other sandwich. No, that's the. Well, then what is this? I'm like, no. So they screwed up everything.
That's unfortunate.
You know what? I know Paul Howard wanted me to do the top 50 again this year, and I'm not going to do it. But if we did do it this year, there would be a new number 1. And Culver's would drop from the 1 spot. Would not drop far. But this goes back to the controversy we had a week ago with Super Dave Ross going to Culver's in Tennessee and ordering broccoli. And,
get that poison out of here.
I reviewed my policy on deducting 2 points from Culver's power rating for having broccoli on the menu. You know what? That should be more than 2 points. That should be like almost a 5-point deduction. To even have that vile weed. Isn't that what they said in the Seinfeld show? They called broccoli vile weed.
Newman.
That should not even be on the menu. So it probably should be a bigger deduction. And that alone should drop Culver's probably from the top spot and put Portillo's up to number 1.
All right. So Matt Newman's top 20 fast food rankings end of August. Looking forward to that. You're on the Red Sox tonight. I can't blame you. This freight train, and not to mention the White Sox are a bad road team.
How about this? The Red Sox are 24-3 in their last 27, and the Dodgers have lost 6 in a row.
Yeah.
All right, so Sonny Gray goes tonight, and he's 13-2 on the season, ERA under 3, but his last 2 starts have been concerning. It's probably regression for Sonny Gray. Over 12 innings in those last 2 starts, 17 hits, 9 earned runs. But at Fenway this season, he's allowed about 1 home run every 10 or 11 innings pitched. So he's been pretty good at home. And when you got a team this hot in baseball, just ride the streak. You don't try to bet against it. And ride the streak with the Red Sox. I bet them overnight. I thought minus 120 was a very cheap price. I think Kalshi had minus 117. I've seen some books at a little bit higher price today, but when you got a team that's winning like this, 24-3 over the last 27 is insane. And I just have to back the Red Sox again tonight.
All right, football is back. Hall of Fame game tomorrow. State your case for the under. Kenny Pickett against Carson Beck.
Yeah, I think we're going to see pretty poor quarterback play tomorrow night. And when you see quarterbacks like this, mediocre quarterbacks or young guys, and they don't have the elite skill position players to work with, it's even worse, right? They're not going to have the number 1 wide receivers, number 1 running backs out there to work with. A lot of times, and in the case of the Panthers, none of the starters are going to play. So you're going to have backup offensive linemen in there as well. Over the last 2 years in the preseason, Carolina Panthers have averaged 11.7 points a game. Dave Canales doesn't care about the preseason. Like I said, he's not going to play any starters. He's got Kenny Pickett, Haynes King, going to be his quarterbacks. If you look at the Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew apparently going to sit it out. That's going to be Carson Beck and Keaton Slovis. Overs have actually hit 4 straight in the Hall of Fame game, but the previous 9 were 7-2 under the total. Steve McKinnon's got some strong trends on this stuff. I don't care as much about trends as I do just I think you're going to have mediocre to inexperienced quarterbacks and no real playmakers out there on the field with those guys tomorrow night. So under 35.5.
Very good. The college football betting guide is also out, dropped earlier this week here at VSiN, and Matt Youmans did a lot of writing for it, as always, and did a bang-up job. That's guaranteed every single year, much like the fast food rankings until this season, all of a sudden. And he joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Can you take us through why you have Notre Dame as your number one power-rated team in the country?
So when last season ended, Ohio State was power-rated number 1, Indiana 2, and Notre Dame 3. But it was very tight there at the top. And I'm not even going to say at the end of last season Indiana would have been favored over Notre Dame on a neutral. It would have been close to a pick 'em, or the Irish might have even been favorites. Well, they basically bring back the entire number 1 defense in college football. I think that's what they're going to have here. They've got most of that personnel back on defense, and they should have the best D. Indiana was number 2 in scoring defense in college football last year, 11.7 a game, right behind Ohio State. But I think Notre Dame's going to have an elite defense this time around. Plenty of NFL talent there. And if you look at Ohio State, I know they're replacing NFL draft picks with 5 stars, okay? But the 5 stars are not going to step in and play at the same level as Caleb Downs and guys like that, the NFL studs that were picked high in the draft. That's why I think Ohio State's defense is going to slip a little bit. I know they reload, they don't rebuild, but they're going to slip a little bit. The Buckeyes will on defense. Notre Dame's not going to slip at all. Notre Dame's going to be better defensively, and basically the entire team's back except for the 2 running backs, Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, who were first-round draft picks. But I've always maintained running backs are replaceable. They don't really move power ratings much at all, and Notre Dame's got plenty of running back, wide receiver talent surrounding T.J. Carr, who's going to be even better as a sophomore quarterback. I think this Notre Dame team is the strongest across the board. But I'll say this. If you look at our top 7, and I had Paul Stone combined, I combined my power rankings with his to come up with our top 7. And we got Notre Dame 1, Oregon 2, Ohio State 3, Georgia 4, Texas 5, followed by Indiana and Miami. I've only got about 2 points or 2.5 points separating the top 5 and a total of 3 points of separation in the top 7. So it's a razor-thin separation in the top 7. Not much of a difference, but there is a bit of a drop-off after you get past Miami at number 7. But I think Notre Dame, I know there's a lot of Irish haters out there. I don't care about the haters. I don't care about the SEC haters. When you're putting together power ratings, it's just an unbiased rating. Notre Dame, to me, deserves to start this season 1. It was very close with Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas right there.
Very good, my friend. This is a great case you made. They are calling Whittingham a stain remover. Your favorite bet is Michigan win total under?
Well, Fresno over 6.5, which I talked about with Mitch on the show a couple weeks ago. And then Michigan under 8.5, I think, is just as good. The problem here is this price on Michigan under 8.5 has been going up over the past month. I think maybe minus 160 is the best you can find on it now. I like the Kyle Whittingham hire. I think it's an outstanding hire. You had to have an adult in the room after all the corruption that had taken place, the corruption of the Jim Harbaugh era and the incompetence of the Sherrone Moore era. And last year when you watched Bryce Underwood at quarterback, it was obvious he was not being coached. It was a joke how poorly coached Michigan was a year ago. So Kyle Whittingham's going to change that. But at the same time, the talent levels dropped off for the Wolverines, and the schedule gets tougher. Look at this. On the road, Oregon and Ohio State. At home, Oklahoma, Indiana, Iowa, Penn State. And there's some other spots on that schedule where the Wolverines could get tripped up. I got major questions about the quarterback position for the Wolverines. I think even if everything went right, 9-3 would be the best case scenario, and I can't see that happening. I think under 8.5 for Michigan's a really good play.
Very good. Matt, thank you for the time as always. Awesome job in the guide. Man, the job that you did and everybody else who wrote a lot for it, really tip of the cap to you guys. Enjoy the night off and best of luck this week.
Yeah, I was going to say we got a lot of guys like Adam Burke, JVT, Wes Reynolds, Steve Mackinnon, a lot of guys who put in a lot of hours and work on that, and I think that's the best publication we put out at VSiN. 350 pages. It's definitely worth it.
No doubt. It's crazy good. And again, you can get it right now at vsin.com/guide. Thanks, Matt.
You bet. Thanks.
Yep. A lot of time goes into that. I told JVT that when we recorded Pod of the Futures, which, by the way, is out now, wherever you get your podcasts, and we talk nothing but college football in the guide. I think some people might just be like, well, yeah, that was pretty easy to do. The time that it took to write that thing and put it all together, I can't even imagine the hours that went into it. It's so good.
A lot of best bets in there, too.
Yep. In-pocket plays are up next. I'll tell you which starting pitcher, his K-prop, I laddered tonight here on Follow the Money.